Miss Haynes, how do you feel about all of this?
About what? There's a lot of things I don't feel right about, and I'd advise you to be more specific with your question.
How I felt about being restrained to this room, how I felt about being asked to reminisce on my past life, which was nothing but horrifically painful, or how I felt about the recent death in my family.
Aura? 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 Dinner is ready. Honey, you've read that book 4 times since Saturday, and it's only Wednesday. Don't you think it would be nice if you would go out more? Dr. Peters
Dr. Peters was arrested for molesting one of his clients. If you're going to give me any advice, I'd suggest use a better reference.
Well, his arrest aside, he suggested that socializing would help you to get over this loss. Oh, Gerald's back.
My throat burned to the mere sound of her words. This loss? That's all she could call it? Like I was the only one who had lost him. In case you're wondering, he wasn't a cop or detective. He was a lawyer who somehow found himself defending this so-called raping maniac in court.
Or this session cannot be a success without your participation.
We'd gone through the same process yesterday. Her asking questions and me tuning her out. When the accident occurred, I'd been lucky enough to be rescued from the rubble and transferred to the nearest hospital in sight. The moment I regained consciousness, I realized I was in a private room with a woman who now sat across from me. Naturally, I was confused beyond words for 1, being in a hospital, and 2, finding a strange-faced middle-aged woman in the same room as me. The gray color of her attire was as depressing as the news she'd broken to me yesterday.
Hello, Aura. You're in Metropolitan Hospital. You were in a car accident.
What about my mother?
I'm sorry. You were the only survivor.
I felt numb, drained, light, pained, angered. I felt so many things at once and nothing at all. I lowered my head in a failed attempt to wrap my head around the news, and I noticed her watching me, studying me, pitying me. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Maybe I could laugh? No. She would think I'm crazy if I did so.
What kind of doctor did you say you were again?
I'm a psychiatrist. The doctor sent me in here to assess how you feel.
Well, I just heard about the death of my mom. How do you think I feel? We went over this yesterday. Don't know what else you want me to say.
I want you to describe how you feel about the incident.
Well, it's horrible that she died.
Both your parents were in the car.
Just my mom. Gerald was my stepdad.
How did you feel about Gerald and your mom's relationship?
I would like to say disgusted, but the words seemed too incompetent to fully relay my feelings. Honestly, I was okay that he was gone. Actually, I was delighted. Yes. I know it sounds utterly diabolical, but I never felt anything other than betrayal seeing him with my mom.
The Secret Between Us? You've been reading that book a lot lately. Are you keeping any secrets from us?
Well, if I was, it's not like I would want to tell you of all people.
Rose?
You've been through a lot lately. It can be quite overwhelming for a 16-year-old.
What part exactly?
How did you feel when you heard the news about your father's death?
I think it's a great idea.
Obviously, she thought all his ideas were good. Utterly ridiculous.
To assist them in assimilating back to their former lives.
In what way exactly does finance compensate for the violating of a girl's body?
It doesn't. But the finances may help in providing some sort of support for their lives moving forward. Plus, Mr. Dersham is promising a definite scholarship for some of the girls.
How generous.
Mr. Dersham has sent us a very special invitation. He would love for you to be present, seeing as Ronnie helped keep his son out of jail.
Nice choice of words.
I'd be delighted to. And you're coming along too, whether you approve or not.
Apologies, Mother. I'd rather not attend a bullshit fundraiser hosted by the man who always bribed our father into defending his rapist of a son. What the actual hell? You could have blinded me.
How unfortunate. I'm sick and tired of your useless rants and disrespect. Your father is dead. Deal with it. And people die every day. Oh, your father was deciding on running for mayor and took on the Deschamps case to boost his votes. And maybe he took on a bribe, so what?
Rose!
What? Someone has to put this brat in her place. You know, my only regret is that you didn't bite the dirt with him.
Detective, to what do I owe the visit? Is Aura in? I have some news that might be of interest to her. Sit, please. I'll go get Aura for you. Sure.
Aura? Detective Wick is here to see you.
Detective. Gerald said you were here to see Aura.
Yes, ma'am. If that's not an issue with you. Do you mind if we speak alone?
What's this about?
Detective Wick is looking into a missing person case for me. A friend of mine.
Well, that's a surprise. I wasn't aware you had friends. She's all yours.
Do you mind if I sit down? How'd you get that?
I bumped into a headlamp in my room. Any progress?
Yes. That's why I'm here. Been doing some digging into your dad's case. Based off the autopsy report I received this morning, I think we're close to discovering who murdered him. His autopsy report shows that he was poisoned.
Poisoned? Last time you told my mother and I that you suspected he died of cardiac failure.
That was my mistake. I was able to get a hold of his medical records with a court order last week, and he was very much healthy. He even had a physical 2 weeks ago, and the results came out fine. According to his doctor, a sudden cardiac arrest made no sense unless he'd been poisoned.
But why would someone poison him?
That's what I'm here to find out. Did you notice your dad acting strange before he...
4 days before he was found in the office, he'd been acting strange. There was that one time when he kept complaining about having a migraine, and his speech was sort of off. I mean, he was out late with Gerald the night before, so I concluded he was just experiencing a bad hangover. But it happened again the next day too, and he was extremely stressed out.
Can Gerald confirm this?
It depends on whether or not he thinks you consider him a suspect.
You don't seem to approve of him.
My dad is dead, and suddenly he's sharing the same bed as my mother. If that's not motive, detective, then I don't know what is. Are you aware that my mother and Gerald were suspects in my dad's death?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, they were. My father was poisoned. Or at least that's what Detective Wick says.
Detective Wick?
He's the detective in charge of my dad's murder.
Do you think your mother being a suspect altered your feelings about her death?
Obviously.
How?
How? The day of my father's death, I had gone to his office because he had forgotten his lunch at home, and my mother had made me deliver it, even though she was at home doing nothing and could have easily done it herself. I think she poisoned him to get him out of the picture. Or maybe Gerald had done it during the week, because after my dad and him went out for guys' night, he'd been acting up until he eventually died.
Alright, is the police aware of this?
I told Detective Wick everything. He interrogated my mother and Gerald the morning after the accident, and then when evening finally came, they decided to drive off a cliff on our way to Dersham's fundraiser. I think they knew they were going to be sent to jail for murder and decided to kill themselves together. Somehow, they thought it brilliant to drag me along to their graves. Can I leave now?
Unfortunately, you cannot leave. You've informed by Dr.
As being a danger to myself? I know that. I'm fine. I just want to get out of this dull place.
It all depends on your progress.
What do you mean by progress? I haven't changed one bit. Can't you sing? I'm still sane.
You're a harm to your soul.
Would you all stop saying that? Look, it's not like I tried to kill myself or something.
The scars on your wrist. Did you injure yourself? When did the cuts start? Come in.